For the world, it is Tuesday, October 20th. It's kind of a cloudy, overcast day. Rainy yesterday. I think it's supposed to be kind of clearing up today, but we're definitely into our fall weather, aren't we? Today's devotion is entitled Vashti, and it's written by Quinn Caldwell. And Quinn bases the devotion upon Esther chapter 1, verses 10 through 12, New Revised Standard Version. On the seventh day of the banquet, when the king was merry with wine, he commanded the eunuchs who attended him to bring Queen Vashti before the king, wearing the royal crown, in order to show the people and the officials her beauty. But Queen Vashti refused to come at the king's command conveyed by the eunuchs. And Quinn writes, pretty much as long as this story has been around, sages and thinkers have been trying to figure out why Vashti would refuse the king's command. Some have speculated that his actual order was for her to appear naked, wearing the crown and nothing else. Further, they reason the Archangel Michael must have come and given Vashti a penis. Surely she would have gladly have shown up to be ogled by her drunk husband and his friends if it weren't for that, they say. She was simply too ashamed. Obviously, the men who brought this all up were not fans of Vashti's. I am a fan of Vashti's, however, and I kind of love this take on the story. Not in its original intent, of course, but consider this. What if they sort of got the facts right and just interpreted them wrong? What if Vashti was, in fact, born in a male body? And what if her gender identity was female, so she expressed herself that way? Dressed and lived and married as the woman she truly was? If so, this would arguably make her the first trans queen of color. As a model of strength and self-possession, I don't think Vashti could get any better. I didn't think Vashti could get any better. And I was wrong. Quinn's prayer. For Vashtis everywhere who refuse to grant control of their bodies to others, we give you thanks. Oh God, help us build a world where every trans queen of color is honored, celebrated, and safe. Amen. Well, this devotion, of course, I'm going back and I read more of that chapter from Esther and trying to get some background behind it and the context to this story. And they don't really say a lot about Vashti. And some of the things that Quinn mentions were probably speculations by early interpreters and translators, theologians, you might say, trying to make sense of what she did. But in reality, what she did caused a furor in the king and then among all the other men of power for a woman to refuse what a man would ask of her. So that's partly what the story is usually interpreted as. But as Quinn talks about with the her possibly if truly some of the things they've said about her may have in fact been true, but they got the facts right but the reasons wrong. And maybe she was someone born into a male body but expressed herself as female, which is the definition of someone who is trans. I know coming up, I'm looking up on my computer here, there is a Trans Day of Remembrance coming up. And that is actually on November 20th, so it's a month from now. And I'm thinking that may be why Quinn wrote the devotion in the way that he did. And what Trans Remembrance Day is a day to remember all those trans people who died either by their own hand, by suicide, or were murdered because of who they were. People who struggled with their identity, and people who struggled with someone else's identity, and in the end it resulted in death. And that's what Trans Remembrance Day is. I'm hoping we can do something on or around that day to support that. But there are people in our midst who are who identify as trans. Doesn't change who they are in their hearts. Doesn't change the fact that they are a created in the image of God as well. And we are to love them as we love ourselves. And we are to love ourselves as God created us. So much to think about. Take a look at this devotion again, listen to it again, reread it on the UCC.org page under Daily Devotionals, and pray for understanding. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.